Hello there, and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. This time we're actually going to be painting more of the Fallout Wasteland Warfare stuff. I'm going to crack into the rest of the box of the Brotherhood of Steel, and we're going to paint some of the initiates and the scribes, I think is what comes in the box. But we're going to have a look at those, we're going to paint them up, and I'll show you how I determined my scheme. Let's get into it. So on to some more Fallout Wasteland Warfare stuff. Now I'm starting this with a dry brush of Brotherhood's Ivory, and I've also come to the conclusion that my camera does not like the color orange for whatever reason. So I'm just doing a very light dry brush with a cheap makeup brush just to try and get some of the details, to try and get them a little more prominent. Now I will say one thing, this model suffers from what I like to call detail creep. It is very busy, and because it's very busy, you are going to have some issues trying to figure out what is a buckle, what is a belt, what is a strap, what is jumpsuit, what is pants. So what I've done here is to cut out all of the middleman work of trying to figure out what's what. I've just decided to kind of just paint whatever. Now, excuse the camera, it doesn't seem to like orange for whatever reason. I'll figure it out. It's probably my settings weren't dialed in all the way, and it also doesn't help that I'm having to hold it like this because the poster tack wouldn't keep the model connected to the handle. So I'll have to figure that out too. The orange that I'm using is Brotherhood's Orange. Now the undercoat of white, or the dry brush of white underneath here, the slappy choppy stuff that's going on, that helps to make the orange to give it a base so you don't have to work so hard. But the thing is, I'm not worried if the orange doesn't look quite right, because again, this is Fallout. What does it matter if it looks like crap? If it still has, if you still understand what's going on the model, it's not that big of a deal. So I put 2 thin coats over top of this, and you end up with a pretty decent orange. Now what I'm doing is, because there's so many details on this thing, and because it suffers from that detail creep, and it's kind of like Infinity models as well. Infinity models are gorgeous and there's so much detail. This model is resin with so much detail. So the detail sometimes is kind of hard to get to. It's kind of hard to understand what's where. So I'm just kind of guessing what's where and just putting a little bit of the mahogany color that I'm using to just try and differentiate a little bit from the jumpsuit. Now I understand that there is an undersuit under there as well, and that I guess the Lancers have like a pair of pants or something on underneath it, but what does it matter? It can be an orange jumpsuit. Not that big of a deal. So just take some of that mahogany, take some of that leather, and just pick out a couple of places and call it good. I mean, it's really not that hard, not that bad, and what does it matter? This is Fallout. Fallout can be whatever you want. If it looks a little bit like it's like the jumpsuit has seen better days, well, I mean, that's Fallout. I mean, it fits. That's the great thing about Fallout, is everything fits. So after putting a little bit of this mahogany on a couple of different places, I realized that there are still more belts and buckles and things like that I missed, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to hit this with a wash as well. And part of what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to differentiate 2 colors. I'm not trying to be crazy. I'm not trying to be all complicated and fancy with it. Now you can see here I put a little bit of black on the weapons as well. And as for the next step, well,
it's a dorky looking helmet. What's it for?
So what I'm doing is I'm going back to that ivory color, and I'm using the ivory to paint the helmet, and I'm not actually going all the way to the edges. I'm leaving a little bit of that dry brush undercoat showing on the around the edges and around a couple of different areas, just to kind of break it up a little bit. I'm not entirely worried about this being all pretty and fancy and whatnot, because like I said, I'm going to put a wash on it. This is Fallout. So I ended up having to change out my brush, because apparently my brush bristles are stiff. You hit this with the age-old Agrax Earthshade, and of course I forgot that to put it into focus, but hit the base, hit the model, all of it in Agrax Earthshade or any brown wash you want, and there you go, voila, you have Fallout. Really, really not that complicated. See, it's just that simple. I mean, you get a good looking model for not a whole lot of work. It's not a whole hell of a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. The final result is well worth it. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. It's almost dry at this point, but we're going to add those to the other two Brotherhood and have a look. So I mean, honestly, after I dabbed a little bit of red on that fire hydrant, and I also did a little bit of a highlight around on some of the gray with that, a little bit of that ivory, it looks good. I mean, I think it's fine. It's it's not going to win any golden demons, but I'm not going for a golden demon. This is Wasteland Warfare. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.